to his appeal last week, it came out that anyone who recites that poem in Qatar will be arrested and thrown in jail for life. Not just going after the poet, but the poem. Makes you stop and think. And I can feel the outrage about something like this here in the room. It's like, you can't see on the video, but you can feel how just still this is from the power of that poem and the pressure that's being put down on him as a poet. And that's good, we need to have that outrage. To start the event tonight, in honor of Muhammad ibn al-Ajami, I'm going to bring a Brigadista that's been with us for quite some time here in LA. Please welcome Dylan Brody.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of my target demographic. Before I start, here's a thing we have to remember, because sometimes it feels as, ordinarily I'm a comic and a humorist, and I work to audiences, and I try to sneak my politics in under the radar, and then I get to do poetry events, and there's often the sense that we are sort of powerless. We're, small groups of people in obscure bookstores downtown reading poems to one another, and how can that change the world? It bears remembering that anyone who tells you you cannot change the world has a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. And if the writing and reading of poetry, if words were not powerful, no one would bother to arrest people for it. The time for gentle poetry is done. Low-hung plums of wit, their nectar sweetly chuckled down our tongues, seem overripe, too soft. Now verse must take risk, become as hard as calculus, word problems set to crystal scansion, metered out for clarity. Let mathematics rule the day. The many, more by nature than the few, in exponential aggregate expand at last to find their first power. When we are counted, no, we are not sheep. Our numbers will not lull. We are coming fast awake. We are coming fast. Awake the guards and light the lamps. Humanity wails at gates barbarians protect. Stop the soothing white noise drone and hear. The wall, however high, will crumble to the rising street. Entropic force equates by definition. Physics rule the centrifuge of revolution. Feudalism had its chance. Recognizing its rebirth, we club it bloody in its infancy. Too brutal? Let me say again. The time for gentle poetry is done. Thank you. Mark ahead for putting this together and being the bulwark of our Hinshin, the lynch mob of our
Thanks, Dylan. I'll pay you later.
Are you our photographer?
Thank you, Dylan Brody. Okay. Just to make sure everyone heard the ground rules at the beginning, and thank you for respecting them, Dylan. Every poet's going to have one poem, and we're trying to keep it under 5 minutes so everyone gets a chance to read tonight. Our next poet up is going to be Khadija, Anderson. Did I butcher that? I'm sorry. Khadija, excuse me.
That's okay, no problem. It's actually the wife of the Prophet Muhammad. Is that name, Khadija? And I would like to just say, by way of my brother Muhammad in prison, there's, for a Muslim poet in a prison for life is not quite the same mindset as we would be here. There's a line in the Quran that says, فَإِنَّ مَا أُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَا أُسْرِ يُسْرًا, which means with difficulty there is relief. With difficulty there is relief. So, just wanted to say that. This is a poem I wrote about the Occupy movement. My husband's going to read it with me because it's a poem for two voices. I think this one's going to be in the anthology. There's a video of it online, Atticus Review, Atticus Books, Atticus Review, Atticus Books, Review of Books. They posted the video, and it's a nice video. It shows our dear downtown City Hall all boarded up with the sign saying, "No shining lights on the walls." Poem Without You or I, a poem to be read simultaneously by two voices. I set out to write a poem about the occupation.
A former police captain in
Without
full
you or
uniform
I,
is arrested
about the
at a march.
revolution.
A councilman is
Could
arrested.
a poem without you or
social
I
justice
be
lawyer
a
is
poem for a
arrested.
movement?
Journalists are arrested.
Real civil disobedience.
On a college campus,
A
police
revolution
pepper spray
that is
a line
brutally
of seated
peaceful,
students over and
threateningly
over, while holding
tenacious.
open their mouths.
Could the poem Without You or I
Bleeding on the ground after
foreshadow
a beating,
the
one
outcome
student
of
gingerly
movements
raises his
and
fingers in a peace
revolutions
sign.
in which people
An
gather,
Iraqi war marine
and
is
protest.
hospitalized with a fractured skull,
occupying public
shot in the
places,
head by police
shining
with a rubber bullet.
messages, who may
Police
get
pepper
arrested,
spray an 84-year-old woman
their bodies
and a
beaten
pregnant 18-year-old.
and maced, locked
The
up,
group rents a
their
woman's
rights
low-income
abused,
apartment to project
police
huge
crashing
messages to
encampments,
marchers on a wall.
flattening
The woman
tents,
refuses payment, saying,
tearing down
"I can't take
signs,
money. This is for the people."
hauling away sleeping bags,
Police accompany 700 marchers
Tents,
over a bridge,
shoes,
then trap and arrest them.
blankets,
Police
toothbrushes,
invade the camp at 1 a.m.,
toys,
demolishing
kitchen,
everything and arresting 200
tents,
protesters.
knocked over,
The city shuts
the
down a
everyone
kitchen
eats
tent
free food
where everyone ate
destroyed,
donated food.
porta potties drug away,
5,000 books
books
from an
disappeared,
encampment library and laptops
revolutions
are destroyed
and
by
movements,
police.
occupations
A Marine medic
full
risks
of
court-martial
inspiration,
by wearing his uniform
full of faces we
while volunteering
recognize,
at an encampment.
full of citizens,
Egyptians march into
full of
Tahrir
you and
Square.
I,
One
full of
marcher's
us.
sign says, "From Egypt to Wall Street, don't afraid, go ahead."
That was Khadijah. And what is your husband's name again?
It's Seamus, I'm sorry.
Seamus and Khadijah. Give it up for them. All right. Going to bring up another good friend from the Occupy movement and been with the brigade for some time now. He's known in his circles as Guido, but you might also know him as Chris from Luminaries. Come on up, Chris.
I don't have no credentials. This is an untitled piece hot off the press right here. And I'm in a crew called Luminaries, I'm a rapper, so I really admire what all of you do as poets. I want to give it a shot. The rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air. No proof on the moon that our flag is still there. From the poorly pressed shirt of a mall cop to the $1 billion spent on the ball drop, from the red tiled roofs of McDonald's settlements to the Chinese-made Happy Meal toys embedded in the fragile psyche of a false flag riddling, taking ADD raised by PlayStation kids. Remember cheat codes, but not where your potential is. Maybe one day you could be a black president. Just lie, cheat, and steal false evidence. Cause the truth gets hid like a terrorist. Hides a lie in the mind of a little kid. Strap a bomb to the bottom of a predator. And it hides in environments invisible. And adapts to the market as a criminal. Mind state police empire principle. Off the interest from the credit that we lending you. Glass ceiling, fiscal cliff, windows bulletproof. just depends on the angle that you view it through. You could see that the dream is invincible, or you could wake up to find that the dream is through. Pick a weapon from the arsenal available, or the drop in the ocean and it's sailable. Thank you.
Give it up for Chris, thank you. Next up we have a poet from Colombia, and also my poetry partner here, Antonietta Villamil.
Thank you. A poem, a fingerprint, a digital instant taken of human experience, the DNA of memory. A poem, the power to show us in a fraction of the present, the future, embedded in its mirror image of the past. A poem, the last frontier of resistance. Poiesis of thirst. For all the small things, bet on against their small existence, tossed around, pebble in the shoe, speck in the eye, too much dust on large strokes that could put together a universe, and all the great, grand shapes, hampered by all this arsenal of trifles, of little nothings, in the mouth of someone who perhaps will never be heard. Here is their thirst, piercing the foot, blinding the eye, sending the insistent hand to plug itself to write something for them, for such things, so small and so lethal. Al-Ajami Mohammed, Al-Ajami, poeta de Qatar y el mundo. Al-Ajami, tu voz es nuestra voz, nuestra voz, tu voz. La poesía no es un crimen, no es crimen. El poema, eres nuestro líder, Mohamed Al-Ajami. Tu libertad, un jazmín que ningún dictador o emir corrupto puede cortar. Tu voz, un sol que no se puede tapar con un dedo. Al-Ajami Mohamed Al-Ajami, tu voz se multiplica en nuestras voces, en nuestras voces. 1.000.000.000 billón de voces más. Al-Ajami, poeta de Qatar y el mundo.
Give it up for Antonietta. All right, now I'm going to bring up a couple new voices. I'm interested to hear people that I'm not as familiar with tonight as well. Looking close to the top of the list here, Victor Avila. Are you here? All right, give it up for Victor.
I'm also going to be reading a poem about the Occupy movement, and I wrote this after watching what was going on between demonstrators and police in places like Oakland, New York, and in Los Angeles, just a couple blocks away. And this is called The Last Occupier. As she turned to face the final onslaught, she took notice how eerily silent the park had become. In front of her were the ripped-up tents, a lingering stench of tear gas, and 100 cops in riot gear awaiting final orders. And as they advanced in lockstep, those polished boots moving forward, she thought about her companions, now beaten and arrested, and the blows that rained down, though they offered no resistance. And the thought occurred to her that this was no longer about her or her friends, or even the space that they now occupied. It was about an idea, about the vagueness and uncertainties of such notions as truth and justice, and what a better tomorrow might look like, if given the chance. Although now alone, she faced the black-clad goons with their shiny batons, and raising her fist, she shouted, "I'm not leaving." Thank you.